Hello and welcome, family, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi. You know, I've tried to record this story literally 3 times and it's aborted. One, we got rained on. So I guess it's important to really share what needs to be shared today. You know, the Divided States had its first UFO meeting for the first time in 52 years, talking about, how the reports of unidentified flying objects had grown to 400 reports. I think before, like between 2020 and 2021, there was like 100 and something reports allegedly. You know, I'm sure there were way more. And then now they say there were 400 reports from military personnel of UFOs. And while they can explain some, they said they couldn't explain others. So in the first hearing of its kind, the defense officials confirmed sighting of unidentified flying objects. However, the Deputy Director of Naval Intelligence said, we have detected no emanations within they're now calling them UAPs, because they tried to actually say that they were not having a UFO meeting, but they were discussing unidentified aerial or something like that, apparatus or something like that. So they were trying to say, no, this was not some spooky tinfoil meeting. But long story short, family, it was a UFO meeting and there's more activities in the sky. So after explaining this, they talked about how officials said there had been no collisions between U.S. aircrafts and the objects, but there had been 11 near misses, apparently. Look at all the coding. Family, I hope you've gotten into gematria, or you have at least familiarized yourself with how they play with numbers, because numbers are the codes of the universe, the language of the universe. And they said, they had, what did they say? They had not made any attempts to communicate, allegedly, with these unidentified flying objects. And they said, it's not about finding alien spacecraft, but about delivering dominant intelligence, which is one of the motivations behind this meeting. But what are they not telling us? Because, okay, so they said, there is something there measurable by multiple instruments, and yet it seems to move in directions that are inconsistent with what we know of physics and science. And then after the public hearings, a classified version of the hearing on UFOs continued behind closed doors. And then they actually released a statement where they were talking about how, it was not a UFO meeting. The House Intelligence Committee's Counterterrorism, Counterintelligence, and Counterproliferation Subcommittee would like to make one thing very clear. They did not spend 90 minutes this morning conducting public hearings into the existence of UFOs. Yes, they were discussing unidentified objects, but they now call them unidentified aerial phenomenon. Family, this is what they're telling us. This is what they want the public to know. This is the spiel they want. This is what they want mainstream media to tell the sheeple. But what's really going on? I've been telling you, family, the ancient ones are back. The ancestors are back. Those who originated, the great return of the Christ literally is happening right now, family. But also, just know that if they're already releasing this, then they are getting ready for some kind of alien invasion announcement. They want to just control the narrative. And it's funny because I was just thinking how we never ever hear of any kind of unidentified flying objects here in Africa. Although I'm sure they're there. There've been 1 or 2, which we saw, I think, in Malawi, Mozambique. They're always discredited, though. And I always wonder why, because it's our people. Is it because so many of us are in that Christian religion where we've blocked out those, there's such an ignorance on that. And you can only see what you know. You can only experience what is, or what your mind is open to. And Christianity and everything has really closed up our minds to where we think that so many things are merely fiction, science fiction. And family, there's something I'm recognizing about how these guys are doing news. It's like a lot of the news now is for their own people. It's in code. So you'll see that this message probably wasn't even for the general public, but it was to reach some of their allies with some coded messages. That's how I'm seeing it. But prepare, family. It's about to get very, very interesting. For them to have this meeting and then because, it went viral, kind of. A lot of different publications covered, first UFO meeting in 55 years, blah, blah, blah. Or 50 years. So what are they not saying? That's what you always have to ask. Why release this story and what are they not saying? It's because, family, it's going to be harder and harder and harder for them to hide that we are not alone and that there is an actual spiritual rescue going on that was happening in the heavenlies, save our souls. Literally, it was happening at the soul level. And now it's going to move into the physical level. The great mother, the great feminine, that it's her return, actually. That's what this whole Christ return is. That's why I talk about the female messianic spirit. We just get to take advantage of the fact that the feminine energy is back. The feminine God is back. And we are part of that. But before I lose people with all that, because, there's so many people, there's so much, mix of information out there. The important thing to take from this, family, is that things are coming to a head. Everything that they spelled out for us in the book of Revelations is literally manifesting here. And that was their greatest spell of all. Rewriting, trying to rewrite the end times and put it in so much gibberish and mysticism that people would be so confused that they would literally attack those that had come to save them. I wonder what happened in that closed-door meeting and what was discussed. But family, just know, this is why you need to get into nature. You need to get into your own story. You need to at least have that option. Be creating your home in the wilderness somewhere. Because that will be the place where you'll need to go in the seasons and times ahead. Because when I hear of like an increased activity of unidentified aerial phenomenon, which is just unidentified flying objects, it makes me think that the war is here. The war is manifesting physically, and we are on the side of victory. And there are avenging spirits that are here. So we may not even have to get on the battlefield. Please check out the video that I did about that a while back. Let me know what you think about this meeting, family. What do you think it was all about? I'd absolutely love to hear from you. Until next time, Tukopa Monja.